So I'm excited. I think I felt differently last year. Not that I wasn't excited about guys that we signed in the portal, or even the one lone high school kid that this staff signed last year, which is Bertie Henderson. But it's a different feeling since the beginning of December, and a large part of that is because we have been here. We've had our feet on the ground for a year, and the staff has worked together. We know what we want at each position. We know what we're recruiting. We know what we're looking for, what we're in the hunt for. We've been able to do all the character research on these guys. We've gotten to know parents and coaches, and none of that, unfortunately, because of the coaching transition, was really true last year. And so we feel like we have a very strong relationship and a strong connection with this group this year. We're excited about this group from top to bottom, offense and defense. And so, we can open this up to questions, but I tell you that we feel, and going into this recruiting year for 26, we did not want to recruit depth. We didn't want to recruit long shots. We didn't want to recruit developmental players. We wanted to recruit guys that we thought had a chance to dent the roster sooner in their career rather than later. And there are no guarantees, and we didn't make any. But we are thrilled to welcome this class. A few we have here on campus now, and the majority of this group will be reporting in June. And we can talk about and discuss the portal class at another date, but they will be all here on campus. And so those portal kids, with the exception of one, will all be here for spring ball. High school-wise, I think we have 3 here on campus, and then 12 or 13 reporting in June. And so with that said, if you guys have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'll be sending out a full list here very shortly. Go ahead and get our first question from Ben Sorrell.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good to see you. Just wondering, with the 2 high school quarterback signees, how do you kind of envision them during their first year here? Do they both have a chance to crack the 2 deep alongside Landon Locke at the quarterback spot?
So as generic as this sounds, I tell you that they all have that opportunity when they come here. There's the responsibility of any coach at any position is to make sure that we put the best people out there at that position. So if it happens to be a returning veteran senior starter, then that's who it is. And if it's if it's a young, brand new freshman coming out of high school, and he happens to be the best player and gives us the best opportunity to win, then we're going to play that one. So with regards to the 2 quarterbacks, Mason Holtzclaw and Brett Holloway, both of them will be here in June. Both of them have already texted us or called us asking for playbook and information. And all. So they're eager to get here. They're eager to learn. They're eager to get started. And so we're happy about both of them. They're both very different. Mason is a tall, long pocket quarterback who has the mobility to extend plays in the pocket. He's a very intelligent kid. Does a great job. Can make all the throws. And he's played against some really, really good talent in the state of Georgia. And so he's a great addition to this quarterback room. It's a young room. I like that because I want to be able to develop guys. And I have no problem with recruiting quarterbacks out of the portal, particularly when it's an absolute necessity. But I think at any position when you can get a high school player or a younger portal player that you can bring in and keep for multiple years and develop, it just gives you a greater opportunity to have good relationship with them, and you can develop them into what you need. And obviously I've done this in the quarterback room for a long time, and so I think Mason has the things that we need that give me an opportunity to develop him in this offense. And then Brett Holloway, very different quarterback. I don't know. Brett is extremely athletic. Ran for a lot of yards, makes a lot of plays with his feet. He can extend plays laterally, vertically. He throws well off platform. He is a really good and talented and accomplished runner. And so both of those guys bring something different to the table. Both of those guys are very similar to numerous other quarterbacks that have had tremendous success in this offense. So we will build the offense the same way we do every year. And what we emphasize is really going to be dictated by the talent that we have. And obviously that starts with the quarterback position. So we're excited about both Mason and Brett.
Colton Foster.
Yeah, just to build off that, I was just curious how important it was for you to find a freshman quarterback and like how high you kind of rank it in, in your efforts of recruiting.
I really, if I'm being transparent, we talked to countless portal quarterbacks, and there's some really good ones out there. But I just felt like these two, as I just referred to, are two very intelligent kids. They're very talented players. Um, they're attractive to me because of what they can do with the football and also with regards to how intelligent they are. And I think the one thing that gets undervalued sometimes is recruiting guys, particularly at the quarterback position, that are not obsessed with the game. They're not willing to put time in away from the building. And that used to be the norm. When I was their age and I was playing ball, I think a lot of us were obsessed with the game. Of course, we lived much simpler lives back then. And nowadays, with social media and all that's going on in college football, I think their lives are a lot more complicated and a lot more difficult than it was when I was their age. And so, finding kids nowadays that are just absolute junkies for football, they're absolutely obsessed with learning the game, I think is more challenging. Both of these have that in them. They love the game. They want to learn the game. And I think that's a huge asset when it comes to bringing them into our room here at SAM to develop them for the future.
Carlos Zimmerman.
Coach, good to see you as always. The O-line
Yes, sir.
room was something of a note in a rebuilding sense. And look at this high school class. Of course, you bring in local product and Trey Williams. I had a chance to call his games for 3 years. Just him and Miles Joseph really the two big focuses in the freshman class. Just things you saw in them and what they'll look like going into summer and into the fall.
There's never anything more valuable than seeing a player live. And so, we were able to do that on the playing field with the big man from Huntsville with Trey. And we were also able to have him in camp in June. And so Coach Hop was able to work with him. And he has a lot of tools. And it makes it easy to dip into our backyard and bring somebody in that's so close. They know the area. It gives family opportunity to continue watching him grow in his career. He's a physical kid. He enjoys the physicality piece. That also, I think, is become harder and harder to find with guys up front. And so we just feel athletically and character-wise he has the tools. Coach Hop and our staff are very, very excited about working with him. And then the more recent lineman that we recruited, Miles Joseph, is a Louisiana product. And great family he comes from, and he also very committed. I think he has a tremendous upside, and I think the sky's the limit for Miles, and obviously we're excited to bring him in alongside Trey. The two of them they're both physical. We love their feet. We love their athleticism. Miles in particular does a really good job. He's heavy-handed, and he likes to strike people, and so it's our job really to bring him in and develop them fundamentally. And I think Coach Vaughn is excited to build them on the physical end of things. And so these two guys are what we're looking to recruit when we're bringing in high school offensive linemen. Guys that have a huge physical foundation. The improvement area are in areas that we can address and we can affect and we can improve with coaching and with their commitment. So we don't need them to be bigger or taller or anything. That's really not possible. We have the starting foundation with these two guys that we want. We feel like we can build them, and we're excited about the two of them. And I think they're going to add a lot of athleticism and physicality to the offensive line here in the future.
Ben Sorrells again.
Yeah, y'all dipped into Georgia a little bit to get Mason Holtzclaw and then Demetrius Dowdy too. Was there a connection that you guys had in Georgia, or was that something you guys just kind of stumbled upon with those two guys?
Well, I think I've made no secret about the fact that we are going to concentrate our high school recruiting in one of the most talented areas in the United States, top two or three in my opinion, and that's the state of Texas. Particularly, this Dallas 45 corridor, Houston loop. But I think you can go anywhere and find a great ball player in the state of Texas, and so we are going to live on guys from this state when we are recruiting in high school. It does not mean that we will not reach out or branch out and recruit a great ball player from another state. I often bring up South Florida. I bring up that Texas loop that I just mentioned, and I bring up Atlanta, Georgia, and in our opinion are three of the most talent dense areas in the country for football players. And so we've got some connections out there with some coaches on our staff. We had some interest from numerous guys outside of the state of Texas at the high school level. And so we evaluate them just the same and recruit them just the same. But I think the emphasis every year will be in the state of Texas. And so now you bring us to Mason and Demetrius Dowdy, and they are exactly what we're looking for, Ben, at those positions. Demetrius came to town and on his visit and walked in the office, and I thought I was looking at Coco Brown. They're built very, very similar. And both guys have great personalities. Both guys are intelligent and high character kids, and so those things are gonna ring true for just about everybody that we signed. The issue last year was we had no time to do any research, and we had some great kids last year. And it has it's not a knock on anybody that played on this team last season. This year with our high school kids, though, we didn't inherit them. The guys that were here before had the luxury of recruiting them and getting to know the parents and getting to know the coaches, and we did not. We inherited them, so we had to backtrack and try to educate ourselves and get to know the families, and it just puts you at a little bit of a disadvantage. So we're enjoying many of the advantages right now that you have from this second year, and it enabled us with our connections out in Georgia to go get Demetrius and Mason, and we're thrilled to have both of them.
Carlos.
Coach, you touched on it right there, being able to be back in Texas and be able to recruit the state of Texas and the great brand, some would say the best brand of high school football in the United States. From your travels around to Wisconsin, Ole Miss, and North Carolina, how have you been able to take some of the experiences there to continue to recruit Texas now that you're back in St. Houston?
So this is going to be my 29th year recruiting the state of Texas. And I had numerous years recruiting Texas before I ever got to Sam Houston, even the first time. It has been one of my primary states for recruiting just about every year and everywhere I've been because of the ties that I have here. And also just because of the coaching network here in Texas is unbelievable. The high school coaching network. I mean, it's an incredible coaches association. It's one of the most impressive in the country. It's one of the largest in the country, as was Wisconsin when I was up there. But they coach this thing year round. Obviously, football is taken very seriously in the state of Texas, and I think the one thing that you get when you recruit a young man from this state is you're going to get a guy that's fairly well-rounded and probably a little bit closer, to his top point. And I think that's been deemed as, that's been vocalized and expressed at times on the recruiting road as a downside to recruiting Texas. You may not necessarily get an undeveloped athletic player that doesn't train year round, and so he gets to the university that he goes to, and all of a sudden he's a freak because he's now receiving training. They're running, they're lifting, they're eating, they're sleeping the right way, they're doing all those things, and maybe getting some more coaches involved in their development, something that may not have gone on at their particular high school at a state where football is not as much of a priority. That's really never been the case here for players in Texas. You got guys that understand how to train. They know how to train year round. They're committed to football year round. They've got head coaches that don't teach. They've got full-time coordinators. And they've got developmental programs that go 12 months. And so I think we have a great chance when we recruit a kid from Texas to bring in a guy that, is a development product from 12 months, or an entire 4 years that they've been involved with the sport of football. And so it is a better all-around product, I think. And that's been my experience. Again, it doesn't mean we can't find great ball players elsewhere. But you can without question. But I do think that is something that comes with being a Texas high school football player. And it's always served Sam Houston very well, and we're going to continue to recruit the state heavily.
Colton?
Yeah, just curious, the addition of Ty Sexton, what do you kind of see his role being in a wide receiver room that needed a spark after last year?
So Ty is, as you guys know, I'm looking at him just to see what it says, height and weight here. It says 5'10", 180. So the guys that we had measure them are the ones we trust the most, obviously. So we've got a guy that probably falls in a size category that is very typical for this position. It's a mismatched position for us in this offense. He's going to run routes on nickels and linebackers and strong safeties. We want somebody that is kind of a phone booth player. We want a guy that can make you miss. We want a guy with some twitch and some really good COD, change of direction. And Ty has all those things. He's a smooth runner. He catches the ball very, very naturally. And he is the spitting image of just about every slot we've ever had that's had any kind of major success in the offense. And so, he's a tremendous addition to that room. And he's already here on campus with us.
Hello from Carl.
Yeah, last one for me. Coach, last season only 21 sacks in 12 games, and then in the early period you were able to bring in two interior linemen, Uzziah Wormate and Errol West. Just what their roles will look like as they hit camp in June.
So these two are what we're looking for offensively is physicality and good feet, and that's really not any different defensively. I think that both have some twitch that we want at that position. I know Coach Adams is excited about getting them both on campus. I really wish that we could have graduated them early and got them here in the spring. It certainly isn't going to be a penalty with regards to how we handle them that they're not here in the spring. So we'll do our best with regards to developing them. I know both intend to come and watch some spring ball practices, but we are happy to have them defensively. We want to get bigger up front. We want to get longer up front. We want guys that can block destruct, and both of these guys showed the ability to be able to do that. Errol is a physical, big body that plays with some relentlessness, which is what we want up front. And then, Uzziah is a guy that I think, when you watch him on film, and you guys have seen some of that this morning, I would imagine he's got good hand strike and he has some twitch to him, and for an offensive lineman to lock in to him and to block him for a prolonged period of time is tough to do because he can get off and he's pretty twitchy. So we're building this thing from the ground up, offensively and defensively. That starts with the big men up front, and so we're particularly happy with the two young men that we're bringing in on the O-line, and we're very excited about these two defensively.